Hi. Welcome back to Keys and Cafecito. This is the Seller Playbook episode 3, Why Some Homes Sell Fast While Others Just Sit. I'm Anna Franklin, realtor in San Diego, California, and in this series, we are pulling back the curtain on the home selling process so that you can make informed decisions and avoid costly mistakes. In our first episode, we talked about whether sellers actually see every offer that comes in on their home. In episode 2, we discussed how communication behind the scenes can directly impact your results as a seller. And today, we are talking about a question I hear all the time. Why isn't this house selling? Or sometimes, my neighbor's house sold in a week. Why is mine sitting on the market? The truth is, today's market is very different from the market we experienced just a few years ago. Many sellers are still operating with a 2021 mindset. Back then, interest rates were really low, buyers were highly motivated. It often felt like nearly every reasonably priced home was receiving multiple offers. Today, homes are still selling, but buyers are behaving very differently. They're more cautious, they're more selective, and they are paying closer attention to value. One of the biggest reasons of this is affordability. When interest rates rise, buyers often find themselves spending significantly more each month for the same home than they would have just a few years ago, even if prices were lower then. That extra monthly payment affects everything. It affects how much cash they have available after closing. It affects how much risk they're willing to take on. It affects how much work they're willing to do after they move in. Years ago, a buyer might walk into a home and think, yeah, we'll replace the flooring, we'll repaint the walls, we'll update the kitchen down the road. But today, many buyers walk through the same home and think, we need something that's ready. Not because they're lazy, not because they're unrealistic, but because they're already stretching financially to make this purchase. After the down payment, the closing costs, the moving expenses, furniture, appliances, and a higher monthly mortgage payment, many buyers simply don't have another $20 or $30,000 sitting around for their cosmetic improvements. That's why representation matters more today than it has in years, because presentation is everything. One of the biggest mistakes I see sellers is assuming that buyers will overlook things that they see as minor: the stained carpet, the scuffed walls, the outdated light fixtures, the overgrown landscaping, clutter, unfinished repairs. The reality is that buyers aren't just looking at your home, they're calculating future expenses. Every project they notice becomes another item on their mental checklist, another cost, another inconvenience, another reason to hesitate. And hesitation is dangerous when you're selling, because buyers who hesitate often move on. Now, this doesn't mean every seller needs to spend tens of thousands of dollars getting their home ready. In fact, I often advise sellers to not over improve a property. The goal isn't to create the most expensive home in the neighborhood. The goal is to remove objections. Sometimes that means fresh paint. Sometimes it means replacing worn flooring. Sometimes it means decluttering and deep cleaning. Sometimes it means improving curb appeal. And sometimes it means taking care of deferred maintenance before buyers even walk through the door. The key is understanding what today's buyers are seeing through their eyes. But preparation is only part of the equation. The other part is marketing. This is where many sellers unknowingly get into trouble. A lot of people still believe that marketing a home means putting it on the MLS, putting a sign in the yard, and waiting for buyers to show up. That might have worked in certain markets years ago, but today that is not enough. Effective marketing should be intentional. It should tell a story. It should highlight the features that matter most to the likely buyer. It should include professional photography, video, social media exposure, agent to agent marketing, follow up after showings, and a clear strategy designed to create demand. Because marketing isn't just about getting views, it's about attracting the right buyer. Every property has a target audience. A downtown condo attracts a different buyer than a suburban family home. A home near a military installation attracts a different buyer than a home in a retirement community. A property with a large lot appears to different buyers than, let's say, a turnkey townhome. Part of your agent's job is understanding who the likely buyer is and positioning the home accordingly. The photos matter, the video matters, the property description matters, the pricing matters, the follow up matters. Everything works together. And speaking of pricing, let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions sellers have. Many people assume that if a home isn't selling, the answer must be a price reduction. Certainly, price matters, but price is only one piece of the puzzle. Before reducing the price, let's ask a few questions. Are buyers actually coming to see the property? Are showings getting scheduled? What feedback are we receiving? How does the property compare to competing homes? Has the home been positioned properly? Has it been presented properly? Is it being marketed effectively? Because if buyers never become excited about the property in the first place, lowering the price alone may not solve the problem. The strongest listings combine three things: pricing, presentation, and marketing. Not one, all three. The homes that sell quickly in today's market are usually the ones that make buyers feel confident in the condition, the value, and in their decision. And that's exactly what we're trying to create, not just exposure, confidence. Because buyers don't purchase homes that they feel uncertain about, they purchase homes that feel like the correct choice for them. Before we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with one question. If proper marketing, strategic positioning, communication, follow up, and preparation can make the difference between a home that sells and a home that sits, what exactly should you expect from your listing agent to be doing? Because in the next episode of the Seller Playbook, we're going to talk about something every seller thinks about but doesn't always ask. What are you actually paying your agent for? We'll discuss what happens behind the scenes, what services sellers should reasonably expect, and how to evaluate whether you're truly getting value for the money that you're spending. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Seller Playbook on Keys and Cafecito. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to follow along and don't miss the next one. I will see you in the next episode.